Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to episode 8 now of the C-Night Show. Barry's there with you on a glorious Friday afternoon here in Sydney. Well, just to give you a little bit of history, first up, okay? This time last year, I was getting ready to go to the airport to fly to Brisbane, and it was an overcast day. And it wasn't an emotional day too. I won't go into too much detail about that because 2022 is now close and we're in 2023 now. Well, usually we would give a recap of what we are doing, but we are not going to this semester on the show. But to open episode 8 today, okay, it's coming into winter, okay? And we've all got to be well. Tip 1 is have your jumpers ready, your skivvies, your scarves, and make sure you've had your flu vaccinations and your COVID jabs are up to date. Joining me now at C-Night is good afternoon, Amanda. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Thanks for welcoming, Barry. Good afternoon to all the viewers. I hope you're enjoying this nice afternoon.
So, winter, like we've just said, okay, it's creeping up on us. And the days are getting cooler now, the nights are getting cooler, and the nights are getting longer. Which brings me on nicely to the end of something. Where we have been you guys have been in Eastern Daylight Saving Time since October. Unfortunately, I wasn't here in Sydney when it started in October last year, but I will remind you when to set your clock back at the end of today's show. Now, the flu season. Okay, the flu is very nasty. The same with COVID, and believe you me, ladies and gentlemen out there, and viewers alike, you will not like it one bit. Okay? So, our advice to you today is rug up, stay warm, drink plenty of fluid, have vitamin C handy, have garlic here, ginger, you name it. Here's Amanda.
That's right. It's important to look after our health all year through, but especially at this point where the weather is changing. As Barry was saying, it's getting a bit cooler, the nights are getting longer, so we need to be on top of our health.
Okay, because as you know, there was a story on the hospitals the other night, the measles in some hospitals. Well, nasty, but we are not talking about that today. We are talking about the importance of getting prepared for winter. I did a video on this back in 2021, 2 years ago. Okay, dressing appropriately for the winter months. Well, wear a jumper, a skivvy, a singlet, a scarf, etc. Here's Amanda now.
Yes, it's very important to wear weather-appropriate clothes. There are a few things that can get us ready for winter. As Barry was saying, being on top of our vaccinations. So if you haven't already, go get your flu shot done and make sure your COVID vaccines are all up to date.
Okay, so COVID. If you've got COVID symptoms, what do? You get tested. And if you are positive and you've had the rat test, unfortunately we don't have one here to show you on the show today. But a rat test is when you get tested, okay? You put the stick either up the nostrils of the snother or down your throat, okay? And then the 2 drops in and there's a little window with a red line, okay? So with the 1 red line you are good to go. But if the 2 red lines appear, that means you've tested positive, like I did last year in Queensland. Very annoying. So if you're not well, guys, and you're catching COVID symptoms, guys, get tested and go home. Here's Amanda.
Yes, it's very important not to ignore any symptoms. You might feel that it's just a bit of a runny nose or it's just the flu, but it's essential that you test yourself. You need to know whether it's COVID or not.
So like I just said a couple of minutes ago, guys, just going through the rat test, is that right?
That's correct.
So the rat test, just giving you that information one more time. If I can just pause that and go and get a man to show you what a rat testing kit looks like.
What's that?
I'll pause that and we'll be back in a sec. Welcome back. This is what a rat testing kit looks like. Okay, we won't open it, but this is what it looks like. Okay, you put the nasal.
Right. So this is our first piece. I'm not sure we can see it properly, but that's the swab. We open this. That in this case of this test, we put it up the nostril. It's important to read the instructions for the test you have at home because every test is different. You might need to go just the nostrils or nostrils and throat. This one is just the nostrils. So you would open this pack, get the swab, put it up your nostrils, go around 5 to 10 times. Once I take it off, I'm going to need this next piece. You would put the swab inside, close the lid, turn it around, and opening. We're not opening this one, but that's the one that Barry was showing. It's what was talking about, sorry, is where you put the 2 drops of this content and wait for the window of results.
So like I said, if the 2 lines show up, guys, that's it. Go home. Here's Amanda now.
Yes, if you do test positive, it's still important to isolate. Even though COVID is not taking lives anymore because we are vaccinated, it's still a very serious disease. It's important to isolate so you don't spread it around those that you live with, that you work with, and take the appropriate measures to get better. You can still get an online consult with your GP to know what's best to do to recover.
And like I did for 12 whole days in Queensland. Okay, I've done a video on this before. Okay, because like, I know what it's like to get COVID, guys, so I was out doing episode 21 last year, I should say, out at Scarborough, and I was coughing, I had a mask on, and things like that. And I too will show you how to wear a mask the correct way. So that's another way of preventing yourself from getting sick. We will show you what a mask is. Just a moment. So guys, this is what a mask is like. Okay. This is like a mask which you wear. I'll just show it to you here. Okay. Keep a box of that handy too. So it's also very important to sanitize your hands. I might give a demo of that now on the show. So on both hands like that. It's like a hand massage here. Alright. So hand sanitizer, guys, is like a clear gel which you put on your hands and it kills the germs. Okay? So always keep a bottle of that either in your bag or in the side door of your car. And also, guys, keep a can of Glen 20 handy. Here's the manual for this.
Yes, all of these, the Barry is saying, helps us with infection control, help us stopping spreading all those germs and viruses. So it's very important to keep on top of it. Back to you, Barry.
So, if you are not vaccinated, guys, okay, please do not enter an outdoor, an indoor venue. Okay, if you feel you've got COVID, okay, get tested, and before we forget, do the temperature check. Okay, if your temperature is 36.7, okay, you're good to go. But if your temperature rises, you are not allowed on the site here at Cash. Here's a manual.
That's right. We check the temperature upon everyone's arrival, because higher temperature is an indication that something's going on in the body, some sort of inflammation or something that leads to the fever. That's one sign that the person might not have any symptoms, but they might feel hotter than usual. And that's a red flag. We need to look into that. And the person would not be allowed in the indoor center if the temperature is higher than 36.7.
So if you become unwell during the day, guys, notify your site manager immediately. Get tested. If you test positive, go home. Here's the manual.
That's right. Each place would have its own policy around COVID. So it's important everywhere you go to try and get familiar with the policy. Here at our center in St. Ives, every staff tests twice a week, regardless if they have symptoms or not. That's to keep our community safe. And of course, if you have any symptoms, testing is mandatory.
Okay. If you are feeling very tight in the chest, call 000 immediately. If you have trouble breathing, call 000 immediately. So the call taker, the person who organizes the ambulance, that you may have COVID-19 symptoms. So I'll start that again, sorry. If you have severe chest pain, call 000 immediately and tell the call taker that you may have COVID-19 symptoms and tell the paramedics that you may have COVID-19 symptoms. This all is because of the winter season. Here's Amanda now.
That's right. It's important every time you make that call to make it very clear if you have symptoms. If you have a test handy, it's worth doing the red test. But telling the paramedics is essential so they can get the correct PPE to come and attend to you.
And if you are attending hospital, guys, wear a mask. Here's Amanda.
That's right. Hospitals and medical centers are places that usually have lots of viruses and bacteria because the people who visit are usually sick and infection control is not always on top of it. So you have to do your own bit, wear a mask and take your bottle of hand sanitizer with you.
So like I've just said, if you are developing severe chest pain, guys, okay, please do call 000. And once again, if you do have COVID, tell the call taker who organizes the ambulance that you have COVID-like symptoms, okay? And tell the paramedics up on arrival. Here's Amanda.
That's right, Barry. You said it correctly. We need to protect ourselves and others. This is not a time to be selfish. If you do have any symptoms, it's important to disclose so people around you don't get sick either with COVID or the flu. You also don't want to spread the flu to anyone. Even if it's not COVID and you have symptoms, let the call taker know so they can be better prepared.
And tell the paramedics as well how long you've had COVID for and when you developed it. Here's Amanda.
That's right. Barry, do you want to share a bit of your experience with COVID? Did you need to ring an ambulance while you're positive?
I will share my story, Amanda, yes. Well, like I've said, on Monday, June 14th of last year, okay, I developed very, very severe COVID symptoms. I actually started to feel quite unwell, okay. On Sunday, the 13th of June, I was at a place called Deception Bay, which is a suburb in Queensland. I was having a barbecue. I was out in the wind. I started to feel unwell. Got back to the house thinking that I'd just had a tickle in the throat. Went to bed on Sunday evening, okay, hoping that I would be okay the next day. But of course, when I woke up on the morning of Monday, the 14th of June, don't be surprised how good my memory is, okay, because it is awesome, okay. I started to sound like Barry White, not Barry Fair. So I was going, good morning everyone. Welcome to episode 21. So that's how I was feeling at the time. I did an intro at my Bray Park house, which is where I was living. Okay, and I went out to Scarborough on episode 21. I had a mask on and I was coughing and I was not very well. And by the time 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock came, I flagged really very badly, okay? And it was a long wait for the taxi to go back to Bray Park. And by the time I got back to Bray Park, okay, well, I had the COVID test, and the 2 lines showed up, and wacko, I had the COVID test. I tested positive, so that meant the 2 lines showed up, and of course I was not very well, so I had to spend 12 days of isolation in my room. My isolation period ended on Sunday, the 26th of June, and I was only allowed out. I was only allowed to sit in the bedroom doorway, no further than that. So it was a very frustrating time. So guys, in ending the show today, like I've just said, if you do have COVID symptoms like we've been saying on the show today, please do go home. So Amanda, what would you do if I was not very well and I needed to go home?
I would arrange that straight away. I would ring the manager, I would take you home and make sure you feel safe.
But if I was having trouble breathing and it was really hard, I think the manager would call an ambulance.
That's wise, yeah.
So a very frustrating time for me, guys. Not very pleasant. Okay, so I had to be very careful when I was going out in public, wearing my face mask, putting spare mask in my bag, and changing my mask regularly. So be very careful out there if you are out in the community, guys, because the COVID cases could go zip, and if you catch COVID, you could go through what I went through. And now, here's the closing sequence of today's show. We thank you today for joining us here on episode 8 of the Friday show with Barry Fair here at Tonight. Thanks for your company, and the number that we rely on 24 hours a day, you know what it is. 000. Please do not. And Amanda and I please do not be an absolute idiot with that number. You call 000 if you have not got an emergency. 000 is only there if you really do need them, but don't ring them just to get the ambulance just to deliver you the Nutella sandwiches or your coconut water or a commode chair, anything like stupid like that. Here's the man now to close episode 8 with that important message, but before she does, don't forget, daylight saving ends this coming Sunday morning. So if you live in Sydney, Victoria, the ACT, South Australia, Tasmania, anyway, don't forget to switch your clock back 1 hour before going to bed on Saturday night. Here's the man now to give you those closing messages now.
Good. So that was a good reminder about the daylight savings. It's this Sunday, the 2nd of April. And then again on 000, the number is there to save lives. If it's not urgent, if it's not an emergency, don't call them because you might need it in an emergency and they might be busy. So be responsible.
And don't ring them just to get the ambulance or the fire or the police to deliver your Nutella sandwiches. Please don't be irresponsible. Save 000 for saving lives. Don't ask the ambulance officers to deliver your commode chair. Here's the man now.
That's right. They do a very serious job. They are there to save lives. So only ring 000 in case of an emergency.
Because the wrong call that you make could cost somebody like me or anybody in our centre or the community houses or the group homes as we call them here, their lives. So please guys, I know you get sick of hearing me say it, but some idiot is going to bound to tie up the number and ring that number and block the lines for somebody who really doesn't need it. So please don't be an idiot with that number. Say 000 for real emergencies, because the police can find you and you will be taken to court. 000 will have a tracking device that will track down your number, the suburb and the state that you have called from, and they may even ring you to ask why you need they may even ring you and ask you, why do you want the ambulance? And that, my friends, is episode 8 for today. Thanks for your company, and don't forget there'll be no show next Friday due to Easter, so we will see you back here 2 weeks' time for another jam-packed show. And a happy Easter to all of the viewers out there. Here's the man and now for her farewell on this.
Hey, thanks again for having me on the show, Barry. It's always a pleasure to share the studio with you. Wishing everyone a happy Easter, stay safe, and thank you.
And take it easy on those roads too. The Easter show is coming up, so if you go into the show, guys, get public transport there, leave the car at home, have a good fun day, and just have a happy Easter. And it's always nice to be nice. And that's where I'd like to end today's show. The time is lunchtime, 20 minutes to 1 o'clock. I'm off to have some lunch now. Thanks for your company, and I will see you in 2 weeks on Friday. 2 weeks on Friday, so not next Friday, but the one after that. We've got a cracking episode show coming up so stay tuned for that. Barry, Phil, and Amanda wishing you a happy and safe weekend. Bye for now, everyone.